Mr. Box Office is here. What you saying, mate? How are you?
And by the way, just to say this, we kept above average John Carew, aka Haaland, with no goals, quiet at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. By the way, so before anybody says anything, yeah, and I said this. This is clipped on Football Heritage TV, Savage channel, by the way, just to give him a plug, by the way. Yeah, so I mean, I've heard the excuses before already because my biggest disappointment this season, I have to say this, my biggest disappointment this season was that FA Cup match because for me, that was the biggest opportunity of Tottenham Hotspur winning the trophy. Absolutely, that opened up absolutely, and I'm sorry. I don't care whether Manchester City were in that competition. Yeah, don't care. I do not care because we had man. I was told we had Manchester City's number. Manchester City's number. Yeah, and since that day, I gave up. I didn't think my team was that great anyway, but I was told that Harry Kane and Son and Richarlison are and Kulusevski, if you want to add the reject from Juventus, were the best strike force in the world, well, best strike force in the Premier League. And now you see what you're seeing at the moment. You know what I mean? Now, for me, let's go off what happened today because we all know this team's done and everything else. I think we need to start looking at solutions now because for me, I'm very, very worried that we are going to be floundering next season because we all know Harry Kane needs to leave. Absolutely, completely, 100%. But what are we going to do to move forward? We need a manager in. I've the ITKs have said that we've got a director of football is going to be announced. Depending on what that happens, and we have to see what happens. But I just need to see a plan. That's what I need to see right now. Because this I've got really bad chills that this is going to turn out because when you see what Everton are doing at the moment, it's concerning. Those goals were absolutely awful, absolutely awful. I'm sorry, that's from you expect that from a bottom four club. It's awful, awful defending, and it just looks like a club that players that don't know what they're doing, and that's it. And I don't know what else to say on that, and that's it. And I shouldn't be. I should be there right now. I should be excited to go to games, but I'm not going to games because I'm fed up. And it's not because people are telling me because I've got better things to do in my time. I'd rather go to a soca music. I'd rather go to a soca party and that's it because I'll get more joy out of doing that than than going to Tottenham games and just seeing us flop.
What's a Soken party? Like a,
Soca party. That's what I'd say. Soca
yeah,
party.
what is that? What is it?
Well, it's just soca music,
Oh,
just
okay, okay, okay.
soca music, soca music. So that's it. So that's what I'd rather go to that, to be honest with you, rather than what I'm doing at the moment. So save money and do that more often. And that's it. Back to you, Terry. I'm done.
Mate, I hear you on that. Look, I think it's one of those things. The amount of money it costs to go and watch Spurs play, you have to be demanding better. And I don't think it's just about winning. I think it's about a plan, a process, knowing that you're moving in the right direction. The way you're being treated as fans, why the hell should you give them your money? I don't, but you know me, I don't believe in this notion of, but you should be there to support the boys. Not if the overarching endeavors of the football club are not to give you back what it is that you want. Yeah, I find it crazy to me. This is wait, so Luis Enrique isn't getting the job. Well, who do you guys feel is going to get the job now? Luis Enrique's link,
Rodgers.
is linked. Rodgers is still linked.
Brendan Rodgers is coming.
I wanted Graham Potter. I wanted Graham Potter, and I'll tell you why.
Don't do that, Alex. Come on.
No, I'm tell you why. I'll tell you why. I said because I think he's got something to prove now, and I think with the director of football, I think he start the process off for Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, that's what I was thinking. I think we're so in the mud at the moment. We need to start the process off completely, absolutely completely. I think it's going to be somebody like Brendan Rodgers or a Graham Potter. And I think what we need to do is do what Brighton have done. I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job. What they've done, they had a Graham Potter, and Graham Potter started that process off. And then when he left, they had a plan in place, and when he left, got De Zerbi in, and he's carried on that process and even more further the process on. I think that's what Tottenham Hotspur need to be doing at the moment, and that's it for me. Whether that will happen, I don't know, because from what I'm hearing, we're going for we might be going for Paratici 2.0 at Roma. I forgot his name now, but I think the other guy from Bayern Leverkusen sounds promising for me, and I think that one sounds more promising than anybody. But I've got no idea what we're going to do. The other thing as well that really annoys me about this club is that I'm hearing a lot about Donna Cullen and Daniel Levy more than the players and everything else. And I sit there and think
about their relationship.
Well, yeah, I'm just fed up of hearing about it. I just think, why do I need to know about
lap slap? Come on, you saw her.
Who do you? Yeah, yeah. Who do you got? So, Alan, who do you want to come in? Who's like your number one choice of the candidates you're linked with?
My number one was Nagelsmann when he became available, but he's obviously not happening.
But we don't want him.
I think it'll be Slot. Now, I think that's what they're aiming to do. Like I said, I think they're playing the formation that's going to be like to get players or see what players are going to be in that position or can do in that formation ahead of him coming in. Like I said, I don't know much about him. I know he has won the Dutch league. I know he plays with 4-2-3-1. I know he likes to give youth a chance and all that, which I think is what they're trying to promote now at Spurs. It's taken a bit of time to come with an understanding of like putting the youth in, or giving youth a chance. But I think that's what they're going with. But knowing Spurs will fumble the ball and end up with sticking with Mason or Rodgers, that's exactly what Spurs are like. So Slot, I think, is the man they're wanting in. I wanted Nagelsmann, but don't get everything you want with Spurs.
Nobody wants Luis Enrique, or do you think
you got nothing you want?
He's not going to say yes to us.
Luis
Enrique.
Luis Enrique is not going to be good for us because, unfortunately, we can't get rid of all the players that we've got already and play his football. If we can get rid of all the players and get players that he wants to play his type of football, yeah, maybe, but it's not going to happen.
No manager's going to work. No manager's going to work. Any manager that comes in is going to fail.
I'm not going to say it's no manager's going to work. I'm not going to say that, but I would say that because there are certain things. Well, Dan, I respect what you say, regardless what you say, because you're allowed to say what you're saying. But my point is that I don't think he's right for our club at the moment. But there are managers, because Poch did work out, and Martin Jol worked out.
Yes.
And Martin Jol worked out. Terry showing that Man United have just scored now. So
please tell me that's Daniel Levy resigning for Spurs. That's why you're getting excited. Please
overhead kick from Casemiro score.
No way.
Oh, really?
Actually,
shows you what quality does.
In close range, I'll walk you through it. I'll walk you through the goal when I see the replay. I'm hoping it ain't offside. We've actually been playing quite well in the opening 10 minutes. Massive game for us today, of course. It is Bournemouth, but it's still big. So Eriksen dinks the ball over the top. Yeah, it's not the best overhead kick in the world, but I'm calling it an overhead kick.
Hey, take it, man. Take it.
I'm going to watch it back, and it's just going to be a volley.
Now I've seen the replay. It's a good kick. It's a fucking good goal. It's a fucking good goal. That's what I'm going to say. It's a very good goal. It's a very, very good goal.
Terry, it don't matter if you're playing Bournemouth or not. That's still a big game. 3 points is 3 points.
Do you know what? It becomes an even bigger game because if we slip up, it isn't just that Liverpool will probably go ahead of us today. It's also you're dropping points to Bournemouth. So it's that double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword, if that makes sense. So yes, buzzing about that. But look, I think you guys, listen, I get where Dan's coming from. When you say it isn't going to work, I think it all depends on what you're all looking at as working. Because if you're thinking win a Premier League, probably no one is going to work. If it's winning some trophies, I think Luis Enrique being backed by your club will work. I think you can win trophies with a manager like him if he's backed.
But that part that you just said, he gets backed. That's the part. I mean, come on, Jose, if he gets backed, he even got us to a cup final with not even getting backed. So to me, I agree with Dan. I agree with the sentiments that it doesn't matter who we get in here. It's not going to work until the key phrase, backing the manager. And I know people are going to say, backing the manager could be a retrospective outlook when we look back at it, like, oh, this summer he wasn't backed, and some people in the summer say that Conte was backed. But I mean, if you look at the players brought in, there was one player brought in for Conte, and it was on a free. So you can't tell me that's backing. We spent money; it's just not.
Our best signing is a goalkeeper to replace our aging goalkeeper, which is older than the goalkeeper that we brought in to replace.
You know what's crazy about it?
Our best sign.
I looked at it today, right, and I thought Jed Spence, Basuma, Dan Juma, and Porro. They weren't like all the signings Conte wanted went straight into your team. January signings the year before, Kulusevski and Bentancur, and then of course with Perisic, they went straight in. Those signings I mentioned there, Porro, Danjuma, Spence, Basuma, you clearly didn't want them because they weren't really getting a sniff.
Porro, yeah.
That's why
we did. But
Even Porro, he came into the team, but he's so much better than Emerson Royale. It should have been an instant thing, and it wasn't. It was weird to me.
Terry, the signings that we got, like Kulusevski and Bentancur, fitted what Tottenham wanted as players as well. You see, we didn't want to do it the way that Conte wanted. The same with Mourinho. We didn't want to do it the way that Mourinho wanted either. You see, and the thing is, though, you said it yourself, and I'll give you credit for this. You said to me that my debut on the show, you said, do what Mourinho wants, and he's happy, and that's it. We didn't do what Mourinho wanted, and look what happened. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I said it was the worst mistake to sack Pochettino, not because I love Pochettino, no. It's because he was the best thing for Tottenham. And the only reason why it also was getting Mourinho, who was nowhere near what we needed at the time, get a Nagelsmann in, get a Rodgers in. Yes, that carries on the process. But we never did that, didn't we? You see what I'm saying? Now, whether it will happen with supposedly...
Jose got us to a final, though.
But the point I'm making is, though, Jacob, is that the target was getting Champions League, wasn't it? Because if it wasn't Champions League, we would have kept him on to try and win that competition, and we would have won that competition, I think, as well. To be honest with you, I think that's another reason why he got sacked. But my point is, just carry on the process. You know what I mean? Carry on the process because, you know, this is. You know, this is a crucial time for Tottenham at the moment. This is a very crucial time for Tottenham at the moment because it can't.
We've got to get away from this whole process thing in football now. I think it's just being overused too much because Spurs had an idea and like a way they wanted to go with Poch, and as soon as that didn't work and his time was over, there's been no process for Spurs. There's been no idea, no identity moving forward. What happened is Daniel Levy, with how he works, is like, oh, Poch almost got there, but didn't go over the line. What I'll do is I'll bring in a winner. So he brought in Mourinho, who plays a different way, no clear thought or understanding what to do next. Then didn't give it the players Mourinho wanted, and all that happened. It gets to a point where we can win a trophy, and you take out the man who's got you there. Although I wanted him gone, you at least let him see out the final, and then fouls, good riddance. You know, thanks for all that. Get out of the club, good riddance. But you know what I mean. But since then, obviously, then it was like Conte. They brought in win-now managers because they thought Poch was not the win-now manager. He got so close, and then they wanted a win-now manager to get us over the line, winning trophies. It hasn't worked, and now we're in a complete mess. And now it looks like we're going to go back to an idea and identity. I think the reason why Slot works best in his team is because what's there is what he can work with off the bat. Luis Enrique, I think too many changes. And then if we don't give him what he wants, then in about a season, 18 months, if it's not going well, then it's going to be like, oh, he wants to go, or Luis Enrique's not getting back, and the continual thing happens. It might not be Slot. It could be another young manager, like what they want to do, but it's just like getting a structure to this team back because at the moment there's no structure. Yeah. There's no full process from top to bottom.
Alan, you think Slot can handle these players? You think that he could do something with these players?
I think what he does is he likes to work with youth and all that. I think the players that you've got there, he can do stuff with. So you've got Porro. This is obviously going to everyone that's going to be there. Kulusevski should get over the line, but there's obviously things about that. Bentancur, I think you do, like, obviously these are players that are good enough. If Kane does stay, you've got Son. I think the way he plays, because like I've had to check him out because I didn't know much about him, I think he's got enough people there to be able to work with and then bring in people that he wants to. So I think
half the squad. I think half the squad is not good.
I think he can come in and do a better job with what's there at the moment, or get better out of players without as much upheaval as possible. With obviously a few quality signings, I think Luis Enrique is completely torn up. Another 6-7 players in, getting people out. I think it's just going to be a longer situation to get to where we want to be. I think Slot is the thing now. If we get there with Enrique, because I don't have no faith in this ball to go to Enrique. If we were to get him in, go Enrique, you tell us everything you want and we'll do our absolute best to get 90 to 95% of what you want in. Because when have we seen that Spurs? I don't think it happens. We spend poorly, we don't get the right people in, and it's another horrendous season for Spurs.
I think half the squad's wrong. I think half the squad is not ready for the squad, ready at all. I think you need to tear up this squad complete. I think over a couple of seasons you need to tear up this squad. I think you need to decide what your spine is, and look at players that fit to what they was it? It's got chemistry with those players that will fit with those players, and that's it. Because I don't think Tottenham Hotspur do it. I think we look at potential and we think, oh, that will work well, that will work well, that will work well, that will work well. Put that in a piece, put that piece and that piece, and for me, it looks like a mixture of people that don't know what they're doing. Hence why you've got Perisic and Son that don't get on with each other. You see what I'm saying? So because like I said before, look at the partnerships we had before. Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Ledley King, Dawson. Dawson without Ledley King was awful, absolutely awful. You know, Dembele, Wanyama. You know, we have Harry Kane and Son, but I mean that's coming to an end now. You know what I mean? So for me, you need to start looking at who's going to be the players that you want to keep, who's going to be your spine, and then you build it up from there, and that's it. And I think that's the only way forward for Tottenham Hotspur.
I hear you, gents. A super chat here.